Are you scared to try Souls-like games and you want to know if these types of games are for you? Then you've come to the right video. Hi, my name is Cinnamon, and I come to you in the form of a PNG tuber. I am a beginner Souls-like player wanting to provide some tips to help gamers like you play Souls-like games and enjoy it. Is this cheesy? Is this cheesy? I totally hear your concerns, like it's too hard, the game is too brutal as all enemies respawn, I don't want to have to farm or grind for souls or in-game currency. After watching this video, those worries will be gone. But what considers a game to be a Souls-like? These games are essentially action RPGs, where players can gain experience and level up throughout the game. Souls-like games typically have a high level of difficulty, punishing combat, and incorporating the player's death into the gameplay. To level up, you need to earn in-game currency or XP from defeating foes and spending that in-game currency at a certain designation throughout the game. My first tip is picking your first Souls-like game. You should avoid starting with an extremely complex game like Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Starting with an extremely complex Souls-like can cause you to get burnout or to turn you off from the genre entirely. To avoid that, I recommend starting with Another Crab's Treasure. The mechanics and gameplay are similar to a From Software Souls game, so you'll be able to get the hang of the mechanics before you get into one of the major Souls-like games. Another Crab's Treasure has major accessibility settings that you can make it easier or more difficult. You can change the difficulty level and keep the in-game currency upon death, when in a normal Souls game, you cannot change the difficulty level or keep the in-game currency. Another Crab's Treasure has a bright and happy nature to the design, which gives you a positive outlook on the Souls-like games. Plus, it actually tells you what to do next to progress with the story, unlike most other Souls games. Another game I would recommend starting out with is Dark Souls Remastered. This was my first Souls game and gave me a good experience on what a Souls game is like. This game is somewhat linear, so it wasn't too difficult to know where to go and what to do next. I remember not being too terribly lost while playing this game. Tip number 2. Be prepared to die a lot. Dying 10 times or even 100 times to the same enemy is 100% just fine. You are actually playing these games right by dying. These games are made for you to die many times, but with each death, you learn something new. It might take you a couple deaths to learn it, but don't treat your death as a failure, as many of the games in the past have taught us. In order to succeed at a Souls-like game, you need to change your perspective on dying. But don't forget to pick up your in-game currency when you do die, because if you die again without picking them up, they are gone forever. Tip number 3. Be patient. These games can seem overwhelming and will thrive to punish you for wanting to button mash your way to victory. That small little health remaining on a boss may make you think that this time you can be greedy and keep attacking them, but boy will you be so wrong. No! What? Dang, what? Okay, I was greedy. This game can reward you with the feeling of bliss from your patience. You can feel like you are on cloud 9 when you're dodging all the attacks and finally beat the boss after dying to them multiple times. Yes! Yes! Let's go! Tip number 4. It ties in with the third tip to be patient, but I want you to learn your enemy's movements. It's important to learn the boss's movements, but don't just leave it at that. Learn the soldier's movements and attack cues you see on the road to get to the next boss you need to fight. A good tip that I learned from somebody is before you start attacking any enemy, study all their movements, attack patterns, and moments of opportunity to attack, because every enemy has at least one. Tip number 5. Don't be afraid to switch up your build or character stats. Every Souls game is different. You may find one build or character stat may not be effective for each game. You may find that you like another playstyle or weapon than the one that you have been using previously. No one wants to suffer with a build you don't really like. Along with switching up your build, don't be afraid to try out these new weapons. You may actually find one you really enjoy. Tip number 6. Don't be afraid to grind or farm for in-game currency or XP. Yeah, farming! If you find yourself struggling with a boss or a certain enemy, take a break. Go to a different area to farm or find a new area to explore, or even shut off the game completely. Sometimes walking away and coming back later helps more than grinding. You say you don't like farming or grinding? You technically don't have to in a Souls game. You can get enough in-game currency or XP for leveling up just by exploring and moving through the different areas of the game. I got my runes, yo! Tip number 7. You don't need to fight every enemy every time. When you die or rest at a certain destination in a Souls game, all enemies, besides bosses, respawn in the game world. If you don't want to fight them again, you don't have to. You can simply run past them to get to your intended destination or boss. Don't want to waste your healing items from the enemy's hits before the boss? Run away. Don't engage in a fight with them. Do not pass go, and do not collect 200 souls. Tip number 8. Don't be afraid to look things up and ask for help. Some gamers inside of the Souls community will scold people for not doing a solo run without any help from in-game mechanics or outside help. Oh my gosh, somehow we didn't get hit with that. Don't listen to these fools. These games can seem overwhelming with it just throwing the player in without much explanation, but looking up how-tos and explanations on what things mean will help you get through the game without being lost or overwhelmed. But Ide! Which way do I gotta go again? Do I jump down here? I do not jump down there. I forgot which way I'm gonna go. No wonder it said wrong way. I definitely do not go that way. If these tips helped you out in any way, make sure to leave a like on the video, and if you have any more tips to help fellow gamers with these genres of games, please leave them in the comments down below. You freaking idiot.